So this is the necrophone, also known as the spirit phone. Thomas Edison announced plans in 1920 to build a necrophone. Just remember everything, Jesus and God talked about with necromancy, none of this stuff. But, man doesn't get it. I get sick. Let me just say it. I'm so sick of doing these videos. I've told God, I'm like, it's pointless, God. It's pointless. The world doesn't listen. The world doesn't want to hear. The world wants to follow the spirit of darkness, which is the spirit of energy, vibration, and frequency. This is the reason they turned the Bible into this prosperity thing. We can only speak positive things and then we get it back. Yeah, if you want it all coming to you from Lucifer, that's going to tell you he's God. But you're not, man loves this, okay? Because they don't want to surrender. See, Jesus made it really simple, surrender. I want complete surrender. You got to start there, because what everybody seems to miss is no matter how great your country is, no matter how great the kingdom is you're in the fallen world. Nobody seems to want to look at that. Nobody. Thomas Edison had built a necrophone, spirit phone, a device intended to communicate with the spirits of the dead by detecting subtle life units or energy residues left after death. He described it as a sensitive instrument, possibly using photoelectric cells and meters to register interference from the afterlife amid a cultural fascination with spiritualism after the World War. There was no working prototype or lab notes that were ever found. Edison later claimed in 1926 it was an April Fool's joke, though then there was a diary that was found in 2015 fueling this mystery that the necrophone remained one of Edison's, something he was heavily focused on, and blending his inventive genius with supernatural curiosity. Yeah, that's what they all do. Just like Tesla, everybody loves the one quote that Tesla says. If you want to understand the universe, think of in terms of energy, vibration, frequency. Right, that's if you want to understand it from the prince, that's the prince of darkness, because Jesus told you it was. Yeah. This is why it was important to be carried along by the Spirit, not be connecting to all this bullshit. But they all do it, and then we all call them geniuses. Again, why? Because the science, everybody's gone down this path. The thing is, the occultists were smart, okay? I mean, they had some smarts to them. They took literally what was said in the Bible about the prince of the power of the airs, the prince of darkness, and they understood it meant vibration, frequency, energy. Am I saying Thomas Edison? Well, I don't know about him, but am I saying Nikola Tesla understood that? No, they don't understand that what you're not tapping into anything other than what Jesus told you not to do. You've all been playing around with necromancy. Why does God take pity on America? Because of the Protestants in the 1700s. Okay, that even though initially they were thought, oh no, we'll create God's kingdom, they eventually realized we can't, and they surrendered. But because of those covenants they all made, that's why God hasn't totally destroyed us. Now, what you'll hear is how great America is, blah, 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 blah. And the problem is, okay, is God is my witness. I take on anybody in the White House over this. But it doesn't mean they're bad people. They just don't want to hear. It doesn't matter what it doesn't matter what side. This is what this world does. This is what this world does. Because nobody wants to surrender to God. That's why I get sick of doing videos, because it's pointless. People have totally conformed, not only just to the system, but to the world, and you think all these people know best, and they themselves don't even know best. The very fact that the people that followed the prosperity gospel, yes, you may have gotten rich, that's all that law of attraction stuff, and then you're still serving the power of darkness, the power of the air, instead of the true spirit of God, the breath of life, because you believe that you have to only say positive things because that's what it will bring. That's serving the power of darkness. But they twist it. They all twist it in their head. All of them do. This is all logical, what I'm saying, too. Because man and his free will and his, It's just man continuing to take from the tree God said not to take to. I mean, if you want to get back into the garden and not have all this nightmare and fears and economic bullshit and leaders just telling you we're going to do stuff and we're going to, like, it just gets old after a while, then surrender. But you're not going to get that. People don't want to surrender. They don't like that word. Everybody's been indoctrinated to that. We never surrender. Yeah, well, to God, you're supposed to. So be a good idea if truly people could. Because really, where everybody's been taking from is the luminiferous ether. What a name. Luminiferous ether. Even the science, yeah. That's how they get all their great grand ideas. Keep taking from the Prince of Darkness, and we'll just ignore it and say, God gave us this. And God's sitting back going, oh, boy, never getting a clue. I'm not trying to sound negative. It's just, you're never going to get people, especially in a country that prides itself. And I'm not trying to say to hate America. The greatest joy to God would be for America to surrender, though. I think he still has hopes. He probably has more hope in it than I do. But that's what he wants. It's not this, oh, we have the greatest this and that. Yeah, you got all of it from this. You got from the prince of the power of the air. Everybody did. You may think, but these things helped. Yeah, but you're still you're still in the fallen world. Because as long as you still have traffic, you have all of this nightmare, you're still in the fallen world. Man cannot take you out of the fallen world. Only God can. But you have to stop surrendering to the luminiferous ether and start surrendering to God. He's the breath. He said it for a reason. The prince of the power of the air is the prince of darkness. So when you hear or see the Tesla quote, the universe is about energy, vibration, and frequency. Right. The very thing that Jesus said, don't do it. Don't go there. But everybody's gone there and made excuses. They all have. They have. Such as, so Theophists used the scientific excitement of the Victorian era to rebrand ancient occultism, magic as unknown physics. Blavatsky argued that a miracle is not a violation of natural law, but the result of a magician using deeper occult laws of matter. She famously compared magic to aerodynamics. Great, really great. To a primitive person, a heavy plane flying is magic, but to science, it's just the application of the law, right? The law that the Prince of Darkness gave you. The ether and energy in the late 1800s, scientists believed in a substance called the luminiferous ether that carried light waves, the false light. Theophists hijacked this concept, claiming that this was astral light and it was a spiritual medium. Oh, no, all of it was. That's how you got all your ideas from it. Whether it was the occult or it was the science. Yeah, the Prince of Darkness knows what he's doing. He's going to give you some good things for society, but look at all the Well, look at the disaster it's created. Everybody continuing to take from the tree God didn't want anybody to take from. I have to laugh because, I know this, so I know it. I didn't have to go through any vibration or changing. God doesn't need all that bullshit. No. God is the easy path, but you got to surrender. And the Prince of Darkness has convinced everybody, you never surrender. The ongoing problem forever. Basically, this is where you get your quantum healing, vibrational alignment, all this stuff. It's all been part of the science. It's all been part of the new age spiritual movement, okay, energy, vibration, frequency. We have to align our chakras and our energy fields, and we can only say positive things so that only positive things happen. Yeah, you all follow the Prince of Darkness, so get over yourself, okay? You may have gained all your money doing that. You may have gained all your wealth, but then there's a reason God said that the wealthy getting into heaven is like a camel going through the eye of a needle, because you'd all follow this instead of following Jesus.